Most realtors are running YouTube ads completely wrong, and it's not their fault. No one's teaching the stuff that actually works. In this video, I'm pulling back the curtain and showing you the stuff that we use that actually works to bring in these high quality listing leads every single month. I'll break it all down step by step so you'll know exactly how to launch a YouTube ad campaign to get sellers coming to you every single month. Let's get into it. So I'm about to give you guys all the sauce right now about YouTube ads, so you can literally just copy it and go set it up right after watching this. Now, there's a couple prerequisites that I want to cover. So the first prerequisite is you need to have a proven script. Now I was just going to show you, I went through all of this in a video. If you want me to send over like the document that I have all of this on, just let me know. I have hooks to split test in there as well, but I'm not going to go through all that now. The second thing you're going to need to do is set up conversion tracking and then also optimize funnel. So just make sure you have those. Again, if you want any of those resources, you can't find them, just let me know in the comments and I can send them over. Let me know what you want. Now, the first thing, we're just going to get right into it. Number one, you need to develop your ICP, so your ideal customer profile. So this is important, something people don't talk about. It's not really, it's not as prominent in real estate because you're not able to target specific demographics, ages, stuff like that. But I think getting a good idea of who you're actually trying to bring in, who's your ideal client, right? So if it's seniors, for example, if you target primarily downsizers, your message might be a little different than if you were targeting first-time home buyers, for example. Right. So just think about what do these people resonate with? Probably a less edited, more raw, genuine style video, whereas a younger demographic might resonate with something a little more edited, a little more clean. So you just have to think about who you're targeting. And I recommend writing all of this down. So you write, who's my ideal audience? What's their ideal age? Where are they at? Like income wise, what's their lifestyle? And you can make a video that is tailored towards that. Right. So if you're in like a easy example is like if you sell lake homes, you're targeting like a lake community, probably want to record your ad in front of a lake, right? Or with a lake in the background. Probably not, you don't want to do it in the lake. You could on your boat, maybe. That'd be kind of cool. Haven't seen that before, but it's just important you know who you're trying to bring in, because then those people are going to resonate with you. Because the way or why video works is because you bring in people who resonate with you. So you put out a frequency and you're going to bring in people who have a similar frequency. That's one way to say it. I'm not trying to get woo woo, but you pretty much, you bring out, you attract the type of person that you actually are. And that's usually your ideal client. So you want to make sure you're, number one, being authentic, because you want people who resonate with you for who you are, but also you know who you're targeting, so it can help you kind of clean up the message and write something that's tailored to them specifically. So after we have all that and you integrate that with a proven script, then you're going to actually find your target market. And the reason I have population here is because with YouTube ads, what I've seen is if you go under 100,000 population with your targeting, you're not going to get as good of results if you go bigger. So for reference, I use with my ads, I don't have a single agent who I'm going under 100,000 population with. A lot of them, I always say, we're going to start broad. The broader, the better. And it's not like you have to target somewhere 3 hours away. Like, it's obviously up to the agent. It's up to you to decide where we're targeting, because you only want to get listings in your specific market, right? You don't want to drive 4 hours just because. Right. So we're only targeting your target market, but make sure that the population is at least a decent size. If it's not 100,000, try to get as close to it as possible. It can still work, but I've seen to get the most results, the biggest ROI possible, the bigger the market always works better. And I would always recommend at least starting broad and then narrowing it down as you go through, because you can see the type of people you're bringing in, which market or which city, which neighborhood it's resonating with the most. And you can just double down on that. And then eventually create a message just for that specific market that you see working the best. So once you have your target market, now we're going to actually set up the geo targeting in the ad manager itself. So I'm going to go in there with you. So all of the conversions and stuff are set up. Again, that's the prerequisite for all this. I have another video on that. You're going to basically click new campaign. We're going to go new campaign right here. And I'm just going to walk you through this quickly. So don't touch any. I'm not even going to talk about them. Just follow along, do leads. And then you want to make sure you have your conversion goals. So you're going to click add goal. And these are the ones we have set up. We're going to add book appointments and submit lead forms. These are the ones, if you don't know what this does, it's tracking, because Google doesn't have Facebook lead forms. If you're familiar with Facebook, it's just a form on Facebook. But with Google, with YouTube ads, you need to create your own landing page. And some agents do a website, which I would not recommend. I would strongly advise against that. But you're going to need to create your own landing page and send these people from your video, when they click on it, to your landing page. And that's where you get their information. So because it's not through Google, like on the YouTube ad, you're going to need to put tracking in your funnel, in your landing page, to be able to know when somebody books an appointment, when somebody submits a lead form. Because if you don't have it set up, or it's not set up properly, Google is going to think some of your ads are doing well, even though it's not, just your conversion tracking set up wrong. So make sure you do that. Then you're going to want to click continue. And campaign type, what I see the biggest one people do is demand gen, because they see YouTube, but only do video, because otherwise it shows your ad on Discover, Gmail with image and video ads. So just don't do that. I'm telling you right now, you're going to waste all your money. So do video. So we have leads, make sure that's set up, and then video. We're going to click continue. We're going to start a new campaign. Now for the name of it, it doesn't really matter. This is basically it's just for you on the back end to be able to organize it. So don't overthink it. I would usually do, so we're targeting sellers for this example, I would do the location. So I don't know, I always do Miami for whatever reason. Miami, just first place I think of. I'm in Minnesota, so it's pretty different. Maybe I'm just dreaming. And then I would do the date as well. So like sellers who you're targeting, I would do the location, and then I would do the date. And then right here, you're just going to do conversions. Don't touch any of this. I would optimize for submitting lead forms. Don't touch this target cost per action. What you're going to do, usually I recommend at least $40-50 a day for sellers. So you can go 40 or 50. I'm going to go 50 for this example. We're going to always start it the next day. So May 17th. And then what you're going to do is, the only thing you're going to touch here is devices, and you're going to make sure you unselect TV screens. Now, I go through this in all my videos, but it's just going to waste your budget. I've seen agents spend $1,000 on ads. They had TV screens turned on, and it literally just drained their budget. They didn't get a single lead, because the whole point of it is getting a conversion, getting a lead coming in. And if someone's on their TV, they're most likely not going to be on their remote trying to fill out their name, their number, their email, and all that stuff, right? It's just too complicated. So just exclude that right away. Now you're going to not touch any of this. You're going to go to ad group 1. Let me move this lighting. Okay. Now for the ad group 1 name, I always name this the audience. So we're going to do motivated homeowners for this example. Now, this is where I'm going to look back on the board. This is where we're actually going to do the geo-targeting. So this is where we're going to figure out, we have our target market. We know it has to be at least 100,000 population. Now we're going to actually set it up. So right back here, you're going to enter another location. You're going to do advanced search. What you're going to do is just start typing in cities, zip codes, neighborhoods, counties that you want to target. So for this example, because I don't know stuff in Miami, I should have probably done like St. Paul or something where I'm at. But just look up all the areas that you want to target. Let's say like Brownsville, for example. I don't know what any of these are. Brownsville, Florida. Let's say we want to include that one. And then let's say in Miami, we want to exclude Wynwood, whatever that is. Wynwood, Florida, limited reach. Exclude. So you can also exclude locations, but just find exactly where you want to target, and you can see the population here. So 10 million. Yeah, there's not many markets like Miami. It's kind of one of a kind, but you don't need to get 10 million. I wouldn't recommend 10 million, to be honest. That's even a little much, but you can see the population there, and just make sure at least it adds up to at least 100,000 in population. You're going to click save, and you're going to languages. This is something people skip, but I would always just add English or whatever languages you speak. And then right here, this is where we're going to do all of the back-end setup with the ad. So this is one that a lot of people miss, and it costs them a lot of money without them knowing it. And there's not really a way to know that this is happening unless you go and change this. So if you're running YouTube ads right now, I would go look and make sure you have this checked and you're doing this. So don't select this, click let me choose. And you're only going to select YouTube in-stream. That's the only place you want your ads to actually show. Because you can see if you don't change this automatically, which is kind of funny because the reason Google does this is because they just want to get as much of your money as possible. They want to show it on Gmail, Google Display Network, which, long story short, it's not YouTube. And that's where all the conversions happen, is on YouTube. So you only want to show it on as YouTube in-stream ad. And that's just going to save you a lot of money and help you get a lot more leads and conversions coming in. Now for the audience, this is the next part, targeting those motivated homeowners. So the big part with YouTube ads is finding those more bottom of funnel people who are already have shown motivation to actually sell their home. So you're going to click add an audience. Looks like we already have one in here. I'll create a new one for you guys so you can follow along. You name it, but basically what you're going to do is go to interest and detailed demographics, and you're going to do homeowners. Oh, it showed up right away, but you just look up homeowners, and it's going to be this one right here. Now, what we're also going to do is go to a custom segment. You're going to click this. It takes a second. Click new segment, and you're going to basically do people with any of these interests or purchase intentions. Sell my home fast, and you're going to do stuff around selling their home. So if someone looks something like this up, we want to target those people. So I don't really want to type all this stuff. So it's going to give you all of this stuff that people are looking up, and you're just going to click these. So anyone who looks up anything similar to this, then those are the people we're going to target. So see all this stuff. I want to sell my home urgently. Those are the people we want. So anyone who looks anything like this up, those are the people we're going to target, but also who own a home. Obviously, we don't want someone looking this up who's a 13-year-old scrolling on her mom's phone, right? We want to make sure that they actually own a home. So there you go. You could get those keywords. You're going to add a name for it. I would just add motivated homeowners and then save it. Oh, I already have one with that name. 0. Save. And then right here, we'll just do, I'm just going to do YouTube audience. Probably already have. Yeah, it's just really motivated homeowners. Homeowners also looking up stuff about selling their home. So you had all those keywords that they're looking up. And then what you're going to do is turn optimized targeting off. Just never have it on. And then that's the campaign level. This is the ad group. And now this is where you actually have the individual ads. So let's go back to our little cheat sheet right here. Now we're at the ad level setup. So what you're going to do is you're going to get your video in there, and I'll go grab a URL for you guys. But what I do is I always name it hook 1, because we're going to test different hooks. And I'm going to show you that as well. I'm going to show you how to split test all this stuff. So what we're going to do, I'm just going to go grab a YouTube, one of my YouTube videos, and just put it in there as an example. Okay, so let's just grab the recent video. Okay, so once you have the URL, and this is actually where you put in your landing page, turn this off, but then you're going to paste the URL for your video in here. I even just got confused by that. So you know, I'm not always perfect. I forgot that's where you put in the landing page. They just changed it actually like a couple weeks back. But anyways, what you're going to do once you have your video in there, by the way, if you want to learn how to geo farm a neighborhood using YouTube ads, highly recommend going and checking out this video. Anyways, shameless plug. Click choose where your videos show. Prefer on, and again, you're only going to do in-stream. I don't know why it doesn't do it automatically for you, but only do in-stream ads. That's the big part. Now what you're going to do is you're going to add a logo. You're going to turn this off, and I don't think I need to walk you guys through adding a logo. You click add, and then I'll just put it in there, and then see, make sure it fits, but it doesn't even show up. I believe the logo is for like the TV screens, because when I see a YouTube ad on my TV, I see the logo, but not on mobile. So what you're going to do then is do a headline, and I think we have everything here. Make sure you add your landing page URL in there, of course. Now what you're going to do, you're going to add the headline, and for this, I recommend doing the hook, or actually I recommend doing the offer. So if you're offering some sort of seller guide, I would do claim your free seller guide. You claim your free Miami seller guide. Now, long headline, and I'm just making these up off the cuff. I usually have a sheet I go off of, but it's really just making sure it's congruent with your ad. So long headline, I would do new way to sell Miami home. should we capitalize and make it look nice and pretty? And then for the description, I would do learn how Miami homeowners are increasing their value or something like that. Increasing their home's value. Wow, that's a first. I just typed everything without making a mistake. If you guys watch videos, I always usually have at least one typo in there. Anyways, I wouldn't add, I'd never add more than one. It tries to get you to add a bunch, but you don't need to do that. Call to action, don't do automated, and I would just do learn more. Business name, just add that in there. And then right here, this is where I actually forgot to put it in the little cheat sheet, but you need to add UTM tracking. So first of all, for the display URL, this is basically where, so it's going to show this up. Even if your URL is different, you can make it so it looks like Miami. See, can't even spell Miami. Miami. Oh my gosh. Do I have two I's in there? Miami and then ebook. And you can see over here, it shows it like this is the display URL. So people see this, example.com, peakpresence.com/Miami/ebook, right? So that's what you want. Now what I'm going to do is go get the UTM tracking so we can add it in there. You're going to grab your UTM tracking. You're going to put it right here in tracking template. And basically what this is, it's a piece of code that goes on the end of your ad. Once they click from your ad to your landing page, it's going to basically be in the URL. So I don't know, it might be confusing to some of you, but just trust me, you need to set this up. And like I said, there's a lot of people who don't do this, who are even running YouTube ads for realtors that I speak with. I'm going to tell them, hey, this is super important, because especially when you're testing, which I'm telling you right now, if you're not going to test, I wouldn't even run YouTube ads. You need to make sure you're testing and you have a process. Otherwise, you're just wasting your money. So, and that might be harsh, but that's just, I wouldn't recommend it, right? I think when you do something like this, you want to make sure you're getting the best ROI possible. You're getting the best return on your investment. And if you're not testing, unfortunately, it's just not going to work. And that's why a lot of agents aren't successful with it. So you're going to do the ad name. So this is hook one, and you do plus. The plus symbol means a space. So just do that. So it'd be hook plus one, meaning just hook one. That's the ad that it came from. And the campaign is what I would just do the audience. So the audience is motivated homeowners. And if you do want this this link as well, just let me know and I'll just send it over to you in the comment section, or I can send you the cheat sheet. Just let me know. And then right there, you don't need to touch anything else. Now, I don't have the landing page in there. You obviously would put yours in there. That's the only other thing. You can also preview what it looks like as well on computer, on phone, all that stuff. Wow, look at that thumbnail. No, I'm just kidding. Anyways, what you're going to do is basically duplicate the ad. And you can see now we duplicated it. It's the exact same thing. Now what you're going to do is just hook two. The only thing you're going to change is, please enter a final URL. Yeah, so you need to add it's mad at me because I don't have the landing page, but you're just going to change this. You're going to do hook two, and then all you're going to change is the name of the ad and then the UTM tracking. And then what you're going to do is you're going to duplicate it again. This one's going to be hook three, and I recommend testing 3 to 5 different hooks to start. Now it depends on your budget, but that's usually a good amount. You want to give the algorithm enough options, enough data to choose what's actually working best. So the only thing you're going to change is in here, you're going to change it to hook 3. And it's all the same audience, some motivated homeowners. And you do this because once you start split testing audiences, which is a little more advanced, I'm not going to go into that, then you're going to know which audience it actually came from. What you're going to do then is just go to review, and you're just going to publish it from there. And that's pretty much the entire campaign right there. So let's go back here. We knocked all that out. And then how to split test, I kind of just went through that. Basically, and I'll kind of give you some sauce right after this to help you even more. But what you want to do is test different hooks, because you need to see, or something I get so much is, hey, Noah, how do you haven't ran an ad in my market before. How do you know this is going to work? Well, you don't know which ad is going to work. That's why we need to split test. So that's the most important part, that you're split testing to see which messaging resonates the most in your market specifically. So what you do is test, I recommend different hooks to start, but you also want to make sure you have an actual good offer. So if you're an agent and you're not sure what lead magnet to use, maybe you're doing something about the NAR settlement, you're trying an ebook, I would start by testing a different offer. Now, I already have the offers that I know work. So I don't need to split test offers or lead magnets anymore. But if you are doing that, you're maybe not getting leads, then I would potentially try switching or split testing your offer. But I always like to split test either hooks or the offer of the ad itself. And it's pretty simple. Basically, what you do is you let I would, and this is something I see a lot. Agents they run the ads for 3 days and they see, oh, it hasn't got any leads or the cost per lead is super, super high. And then they just turn it off and go back to the drawing board and just create a whole new campaign that when they didn't use any of the data from the last campaign to actually learn from it. That's a big thing. Even though, yeah, every single dollar of your budget's not going to be going towards getting a lead to start, it's going towards testing. So every dollar it's okay if you're even if, like you spend $200 on an ad doesn't get anything, because then the other $200 you spent was going to a different ad, and now you know this one works, this one doesn't, so you never have to spend that $200 on that ad again. It's all going to go into the winning ad. It's basically going to multiply, right? So when you find that winning ad, it just all snowballs. But what you should do, and for most agents, I would say don't even touch your ads. Don't touch them. Don't even look at them for the first 10 to 14 days. Now, I'm in there a little more meticulously when I do it, just because I do have things I look for, just kind of small things. But really, what I would say, if you're going to run these ads by yourself and you're split testing, don't touch the ads for at least 10 days. So I would say don't even look at them, because you're going to be tempted to just shut it off. And just kind of turn it off. When in some cases, like I go through in some videos, I show you metrics from the ads, I show you stats where week one is absolutely terrible, and then the second week, all of a sudden, we get a new listing or a listing appointment, a couple of them, right? That's not always the case. Sometimes you get them in the first week for sure, but it's really like if you shut it off after a week, you would have never got the listing, right? And then that would be a waste of your money, because you're not learning from the data, you're not giving it time to actually optimize. That's the thing with these algorithms. They learn from data, and the more data you can give it, the better it's going to do, which is why I never have agents anymore spending 20, $30 a day on ads, just because you're not going to get enough data, right? And the way you scale, the way you actually get listings consistently is by giving the algorithm enough budget to actually show your ad in front of as many people as possible, and from there it's going to optimize and find the right people. And that's where, like I said, it just kind of snowballs, and you can just keep that ad running forever. It will fatigue eventually, but then that's when it just starts printing for you, printing listing appointments, printing listings. You get the idea. And then it's just fun from there, because that's when you really see the power of YouTube ads. Now that's kind of that's the simplest explanation I can give about split testing. Basically, let it run for 10 to 14 days, see which one's getting you the best results, meaning I would say lowest cost per lead, which is how much you're paying for a lead on average. I'm going to show you how to calculate what your average cost per lead should be. But then also you want to you can look at like click-through rate and stuff, but realistically you want to see where the best appointments are coming from, where the listing appointments are coming from, and then also which one is getting the lowest cost per lead. And usually that's the winning ad. Shut the rest off, and then just put all your budget into that one. You can also do a split test after that, but I'm sure I'm confusing some of you guys. So just stick with that for now, and you're gonna be in a really, really good place. I'm telling you right now. So now that we have all that out of the way, we have all of this, you're ahead of 99.999% of agents running ads, which isn't saying much, to be honest. I've seen a lot of them, but I'm going to show you even some more saws right here, something I haven't really seen anyone else talk about on YouTube. I learned this from a mentor, so I'm going to kind of give you guys an insider. So when I talk about like cost per lead, like average cost per lead, what that is. So first, cost per lead, it's pretty self-explanatory, but how much are you paying for a lead? Now, in every single market, it's going to be different. You're going to pay more for a lead in Miami than you are going to in Des Moines, Iowa, which some of you might not even know what that is, but it's just a very different market. So the way you find it, and like to give you reference, like if you're in a market with $1 million homes, obviously the cost per lead is going to be higher than if you're in a market with $200,000 homes, right? It's just that's just the way it is. It's pretty obvious, but the first thing we're going to do is we're shooting for a 7 to 10 times return on investment with these ads, right? So that's the goal. So if you're putting in $1,000, you want at least 7,000 to 10,000 back. So the way you break it down is you take your average GCI per deal. So if you're making, if your average home price is, I don't know, 600,000, your GCI is about 10 grand, I would say. That's just off the top of my head. I think that's what the math usually comes out to be. Or like even 500,000, your average GCI is probably like 10 grand. Right. So it's keeping it simple. What you're going to do is take your average GCI per deal, what you're making after the splits and everything, And if you're making 10 grand, what you're going to do is multiply it by 0.1. That's going to be 1,000. And then you're going to multiply it by 0.142. So basically, you're going to multiply your average GCI per deal by each of these numbers. This one is a 10 times ROI. This one is 0.142 or 7 times ROI, excuse me. Now, what you're going to do is the average conversion rate with YouTube ads is 10%. Some agents have even higher, some have lower. It all depends on your skill level, but that's pretty typical across markets that I've seen. But I also do mainly work with agents who do have a track record of converting leads in the past, which is why the conversion rate is pretty high. But from there, you're going to take the average conversion rate at about 10%, and you're going to multiply these numbers that you get. So after you take 10,000 or your GCI times 0.1, you're going to get 1,000. And this is for the 10 times ROI. You're going to multiply 1,000 by 0.1 to get 10% of that, and that's going to be 100. So your average, your lead cost KPI, and this is for seller leads, is about $100. So even if you're getting seller leads for $90, again, these are going to be very motivated people. YouTube ads are different from a lot of stuff out there. You'd be surprised, but you would be willing to spend $100 to get a lead, and that's the target cost per lead in your market. Now, what you want to do is also multiply, get the 7 times 1, because the 10 times that's on the lower end, so it's going to be like 100 to like $115 is what your target cost per lead is. So the way you do that is when you're testing the stuff, or how you can see how you know how long to run an ad. The first thing you can do is just not touch it for 10 or 14 days, which is the easiest way. But also let each ad spend 2 to 3 times your target cost per lead. So if you're in this market, you make about $10,000 per deal. Let each ad, before cutting it, let it spend at least 200 to $230, right? That's two times your cost per lead that your target is, right? So that makes sense. You want to give it enough data. You don't want to cut it too soon. So if your target cost per lead in your market's $100, you should be willing to spend $200 on an ad. And if it doesn't get anything within that time, then I would cut it. But then when you're testing, you're going to find a couple of ads are within your target cost per lead, and those are the ones that are winning. Those are the ones that you want to just allocate the rest of your budget to, because you know it's performing well based on your market. So if you're going out there and saying, yeah, I want a $50 cost per lead, well, that's not the way it works unless your market is lower home prices. You just need to see and understand how it works, how the algorithm works, because it's of course again going to be more expensive if your home price is more expensive, because that just wouldn't make sense for Google, because they would be losing so much money. They can't afford to pay out 50, 60, 70 times the ROI that you're putting in, even though I've had agents get like a 45, 50 times ROI, but that's kind of once in a while, not consistent. But if you're looking for consistent results, you want to systemize your business where okay, if we're putting this much in, we get this much out. You need to do this. You need to understand how this works. And I know I got probably a little more nerdy than you guys are interested in, or that a lot of people talk about, but I just want to show you exactly how you can do it. Because again, my whole goal with this entire channel, with what I do, is providing you as much value as possible upfront, so you just literally never have to pay someone to do this for you. Now, having said that, basically I do that because I sell implementation, not information. So if you do want me to come in, implement this for you, have all of this set up, to have all the kind of proven systems so you can consistently get a couple extra listings basically on autopilot, all you got to do is speak with a handful of these people that we bring in each month. You feel free to book a call with me, apply to work with me. We can chat about it, see if it's a good fit for both of us. But if not, again, just go through my channel. I give you everything away. You can go set it up yourself. I just went through this process, go through all the prerequisites. I have videos on every single one of these. If you do want me to send any of this stuff over, so maybe you don't want to go and scroll through my channel, I'll be happy to send them over. Just let me know. But this is the entire system on basically how you set it up, and you're going to be in a really good place if you go and do this. But again, if you do want to have a chat with me to see what it would look like in your business specifically, if you have any questions, feel free to book a chat with me below. Other than that, I do appreciate you watching. I hope you got value from this, and I'll see you in the next video. Have a good day.